Okay, I've had to re-record this, which just upset me a little bit, so I'm going to go through this a little bit quick. So this is the best current players and teams, no coaches, just players and teams. Um, so Atlanta Reign. Reign are currently ranked tied first in the overall standings and have what could be considered a league-winning roster. They have always been a team in contention for the title, and this could be their season. 2-0. We are only two games into the season, so it could be made the argument that maybe it's a little bit too early to start calling who are the best teams and who are the worst teams. But I think it's very fair to say that this roster, just on paper, is one of the best. Outlaws. Houston Outlaws. Outlaws are currently ranked tied first, tied with Atlanta Reign in the overall standings and have some of the greatest players to ever grace the Overwatch scene. True veterans, including league-winning players and an insane roster, by any means a true contender. They have Violet, they have Fearless, they have Pelican, they have players that have really pushed for the league before and could very well be one of the greatest rosters ever. That may be a little bit excessive to say, but I also think that it's arguable. Um, and as you can see, I believe Houston are only. I think it's only one and first. So I said tied first. This says one and two, but I think if you look at it, it's the same um, map win rate. They've both got the same differential. They've like everything's the exact same here, and I think Atlanta Reign only goes first because of name, which I think is silly. I think it should just be tied first, but well, actually no, it is usually through alphabetical order, which is crazy. But anyway, Hangzhou Spark, yet another team with an insane veteran experience mixed with fresh talent and raw power. Truly an incredible roster that has the opportunity to win the league. I forgot to mention here they have an MVP from season four. They have an MVP player from season four. Um, and just that alone should really show you. I believe they've got an MVP candidate from season five too. So their DPS line is insane. Goujouet is known as one of the greatest Winston players ever. We're currently in a Winston meta, which should just set Hongzhou Spark up really well for this stage at the barest of minimums. They've got an incredible Zenyatta player and a veteran main support. I don't see big gaps in this roster. I think the tank depth is going to be a little bit shaky, but they have got Elsa, who is a very good off tank, which means that they have got a little bit of depth if Goujouet is able to just fill in the gaps for the other main tanks, or if Hangzhou can figure out a way to force Winston and some D.Va, and I'm guessing they've picked up Elsa for the I should say 20, but they're Elsa. Um, their new name is 20. Um, but yeah, I'm guessing Elsa should be able to pick up the Sigma, and that should cover the biggest bases, unless there is a big meta change, you know. But the East region tends to just play dive anyway, so Hangzhou in the regular season should be able to just force the Winston. So that should be fine, unless there comes out a massive ball meta where Winston is completely unviable. Although Goujouet did kind of revolutionise Winston gameplay, so maybe he can revolutionize it again. We'll see. But and then the way that I decided to pick up players. So with these, I just picked out these two are the most likely to win the or these two are the two that are most likely gonna finish top this stage. So that's why I picked them. Um, and Hangzhou are most likely to win their stage in the East region. I think I don't think anybody else is really close to these three, so it made sense to just pick those three. Two from the bigger region, one from the smaller region, is the way I looked at it. Players, and I've just picked out one player from each of these rosters because that seemed like the fairest way to do it. The best rosters or the best teams will have the best current players. It just seemed like the best way to do it. So, Lip, a former champion and one of last season's best playoff players, regarded to be one of the major factors Shanghai Dragons made it as far as they did, and putting on one of the best individual performances from a player, almost single-handedly carrying an entire series to keep Shanghai Dragons alive. Violet, back-to-back champ and the most flexible support player of all time. So Atlanta Reign, Lip, Violet, Houston. That's how I've done it. Back-to-back champion and the most flexible support player of all time able to play everything to the highest standard and able to carry on it too. If there is a Zen meta to emerge, it is likely Violet could win it for Houston himself. If there is in the playoffs a Zen meta, there is the possibility where Violet can simply just carry the team by himself. He's done it before and he can probably do it again still. His Zenyatta is the best ever, and his Zenyatta is actually a really good reason for why he could be considered the greatest mechanically gifted player ever. And I don't say that lightly because there have been some real mechanical freaks in the league, but Violet is up there. Yeah. Shy, a massive part in Spark's success in 2022 and one of the best hitscan/Sojourn players in the league. As a viewer, you can expect to see Shy get the first kill in half of all fights. He is poetry in motion. Brilliant player. A little bit fresher, hasn't got titles to his name or hasn't got MVPs, or I believe he has got some MVP candidates. I think if Hangzhou Spark perform this season, which they should because they have got a very good roster, and he is unfortunate to be on a roster that doesn't always perform, Shy could see himself at the very least getting a role star or an MVP or maybe even just some stage titles or the whole championship. And I think he deserves that at the very least for how brilliant he is. Um, so yeah, those are my thoughts. And obviously there are some incredible players on all these teams. Really good tank players on all of the teams, but I also don't think that the best tank players don't actually reside on these teams. Although thinking about it, I wouldn't really know who I would rank the best tank players anymore because a lot of them are retired. Um, I mean, it's too early in the season to start calling things like this. Hawk and Donghak are very good though. Um, Fearless is brilliant. Smurf is incredible. Gouge has been one of the greatest tanks of all time in the past. Whether or not he can still live up to it, I'm not sure. But that is diverging from the point. Um, Hangzhou 1-0. There's only been one East game. It doesn't show here for some reason. They have got a case. But now that we've picked out the three best teams and their best players, I thought maybe it's best now too to look at compositions. So we look at Atlanta Reign here, um, and we can see they've got. I'm mostly going to focus on the tank role, but Sombra Mei. There's a lot of Sombra going around in the league right now, and you always play the Mei. So as you can see, there's a Mei on both teams, the Lucio, and then the Ana BAP difference is based on range on the map, and how much do you want your tank to carry, how much do you think your backline can do. And then we've seen some Junker Queen here, and you'll pretty much always see this Sombra Tracer come through. The Queen is interesting, the Lucio Kiriko. Lucio is essentially a mainstay in everything now. This game was a 3-0, wasn't even close.
You got a team? We got a family.
And we see more Ram. Ramattra is a very, very strong hero right now. And there we go. This is the thing that you'd most expect to see though, is this Winston. The Winston is the like meta-defining hero right now. On attack, they're still playing the Winston. If we skip ahead a little bit on defense, they're playing the Winston, Sombra Tracer, Brig, Ana. We skip ahead a little bit more. We go to a poke map, and on this poke
And I
map,
think the Sombra look here
they decide to go for the D.Va. This is because
from the
Hawk is a D.Va player. Poke is weirdly being pushed out even on poke maps because of this dive, which means Sigma's a little bit less viable, but I'm sure some teams will still play the Sig. It's a little bit strange to see the D.Va, but you can see even Shock, who are not a bad team whatsoever, still play the Winston on defense, and then we can see the Winston on attack here. It's important to mention there's a lot of Winston gameplay going around. We can look at Immortal on Terrain, as you can see here, already Winston. I don't think I need to show examples from every point of every map, but it's not just a rain thing either. Outlaws play a lot of Winston. I mean, Fearless is a brilliant Winston. Always Winston. Like almost any map that you go to, you're going to see a Winston unless you have like an incredible off tank. Like I said, Hongzhou Spark. Always on Winston. Even the enemy teams, when they haven't necessarily got the best Winston players, it'll be that. So yeah, maybe a little bit excessive there at the end, showing all of the maps, but Winston is essentially the only hero tanks are playing right now. Maybe some Ramattra, a little bit of Sigma, like a sprinkling of D.Va, stuff like that. Like if it's usually a counter pick if you're going off the Winston, or a comfort pick if you're going off the Winston. The Jungle Queen will eventually be traded out. Is the prediction from Mick anyway. Um, but nothing really tops this Winston comp because it's just so versatile, and Winston has just got the best space creation tool in the game. He can burst squishies down by himself. In scrims, it takes a little bit more coordination, but in a comp game, one Winston can literally just go into the backline and kill 4 people. That takes a very, very well coordinated dive and some poor gameplay from the enemy. But often, if you see a full engage from a Winston, it typically leads to a death unless the enemy tank recognizes that the Winston's diving and will then turn around and try and peel for it. But yeah, Winston is the meta right now, so I just thought as well we can discuss a little bit of pro meta anyway. So yeah, that's that. The current best teams, players, and I guess we can even extend this now into comps/metas. So yeah, there we go.